All right, part two. I'm gonna jump right into it. This is the one video that I might implore you almost to go ahead and watch the part one. I mean, because then you won't be jumping right into the middle of the fourth dimension, right into the middle of the space loop. All right, it's part two. I'm still on the balcony, and it's getting cold on the balcony. But let's get it. Do your own research. All right. So when you see the sunlight, when you look into the sun, you see all that brilliance and all that shine. You think it's separate than the light from the source of it, but it's not. You're actually looking into the fourth dimension. And every little beam and particle that you see that even hits your face, that nourishes you, that one is not separate than the one at the source. Just like you are not separate than your brother or your sister. Just like we are not separate than hey. All right, so that's, go back to part one if you want to get more on this. You know what I'm saying? Click on the link and do your research into the space loop and all that. But, you know what I'm saying? We'll keep building on these concepts. I just want to introduce you to some. I don't want to be linear. I don't want to be like, oh, man, I'm going to say that for like way down the line. Like, nah, I mean, this is some of the stuff that I would normally save for later. But I don't think we have that long. So I just want to put it all out there and let you suffer through it and trust that your Ruach is going to connect like it already is. Already connected. Illusion of seclusion is no more. I'll pause it because it's worth reading. It's cold on the balcony. Alright. This is again, you know what I'm saying? Yo, man, Tesla. My man, Tesla. Anybody down with free energy, I'm cool with, man. I just got to be honest with you. He said every living being is an engine. Every living being is an engine geared to the will work of the universe. Or heya, correct? Though seemingly affected only by its immediate surrounding, the sphere of external influence extends to infinite distance. So your sphere of influence extends to infinite distance. What you do affects your brother. What you do affects your family. All right? Everything you do affects heya. His punishment is for real, man, because you affecting him. Stop affecting him. Stop infecting yourself. And activate. Dig on it. Drop Nation. Who got the drop? Research it yourself and dig on it. What's moving, the earth or the sun? You're following the sun moving around you. Like everything else revolves around you. Do you understand? You see into the fourth dimension all the time. You're just not aware of it. All you gotta be is aware. All you gotta do is believe. He's beginning to believe. Can you dig it? You can dig it. We can dig it. Research this. The coral reefs. The castle. Coral Castle, I believe is the name. Vibration is the game. Vibration is the game. Reminds me of my man Tahuti, yo man Thoth, Eye of Ra, huh? The man with the wisdom, the mastery, the scribe. Tutmosis III, Hermes, Mercury, the Emerald Tablets, Atlantis, so-called Egypt. See, there's no such thing as Egypt. Egypt is Atlantis. And Kemet is Kemet. Atlantis is not Kemet. Egypt is not Kemet. Kemet is not Egypt. Those fallen angels came and infected our native land with their harmonics and put us in space and time with their harmonics. And then they did the same thing to our melanated family in Kemet, which is why the pyramids are older here. But Atlantis was sunk and then they went there. So the story goes. Now, Thoth says in Tablet 8, he says, I had to run from the hounds of the barrier. What barrier? The barrier, the firmament, the Van Allen belt, the dome. When they get too high in their celestial underworld walk undertakings, they get too close to the barrier, the hounds sniff them out and they come at them in angles. And they say to avoid, these hounds are bound by these angles, so to avoid them, they have to circle them. They have to go in circular patterns or circle the squares. So they go in these circular patterns, these go in angles. Because in angles, you're... Right? There's a science to how you're moving. Boom, 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 boom. They're doing circles. They're just swirling and circling, trying to get away from these hounds approaching in angles. The Most High's angels get at them in angles. They have to circle the square to be free for a second, or the hounds will catch them and hold their souls unto judgment. Very interesting stuff, man. Read those tablets, man. You can get some drop out of those emerald tablets. Study this stuff as it connects to Greek mythology, because you will find some babies in it, and then connect it right back into scripture, the days of Peleg, Noah, Ham, Shem, Japheth. Everything connects. You connect. It's all about you. You study this stuff, you understand vibration, you understand the secrets of not the universe, but the secrets of the consciousness, of the simulation, of the consciousness, of the divine, of all there is, the consciousness itself. Is this consciousness the simulation of Heya Heya? Is this a testing ground, a conscious testing ground before we are fully activated, reactivated out of this illusion of space and time again? Has the consciousness, the simulation within Heya Heya been hijacked by some goons underneath the vibrational layer, sending energy signals into your brain, thinking that things are, able to be felt and touched and smelt? But what is touch? What is feeling? What is sight? Is this not all energy, electric signals sent to your brain? How do you know you haven't been hijacked? By the illusion of seclusion, by this 440 hertz, by these cell phone towers, by the 440 coming out of your radio and TVs constantly, cutting you off from the higher heavens, the higher frequencies that will wake you up. Reconnect your 12 strands. See, Tahuti and his dweller and these people of the light, which is not the greater light above, but the lesser light below, the underworld, the celestials underneath the firmament, so it's the underworld. And it's in space and time, and they have to run from the angels of the barrier and circle to get away from these angles. These angels did it. Dig on it. See that rectangle? All right. So imagine you put a tent from here and you connected the top of the tent from here to here. That's a good depiction of a probability of your habitat. The best I can do. The best I can do right now. Except, of course, this will be the, some land here, and then there'll be the Arctic Circle, and then some more land outside here, all the way to the ends. You know what I'm saying? That will be your firmament, where there's waters above, waters below, all kinds of stuff. Stars are within the firmament. All right. See how these stars are going through the same space loop, going from one portal to the other portal? All moving together, all moving as one. So your stars are going from portal to portal, western portal, eastern portal, however it goes. I'm upside down right now. All right, let's just call this west, just for my sake. Western, eastern, all right? So they go through kind of like a covering, like a chandelier, but it might be, instead of just, it might be kind of going, some type of straight. And they only kind of tilt, or, when people see like the spirals, it's literally like, we'll get into that, but like a reflection. Some people say when you're looking up, you see a reflection off the top of the dome. So sometimes, you see things reflecting a certain type of way. And we'll get into some Enter the Stars that has some great drop on the reflection understanding. So I'm throwing all this at you, the reflection theories, the space loop theories, included and tied to the fourth dimension. We already went to the scripture with it, went to Enoch with it, we went to different other drops with it. So a lot of things are being tied, and I'm just trusting that it's going to hook, line, and sinker, you know what I'm saying, for all of you at the right time. I'm not in any way being linear. I'm just dropping that drop while it's hot, for real, because it's hot right now, and I just got to get it all out. I could have done a million 10-part series on all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to get it out when the getting is good. All right, so it's 2 a.m. I got my tea. All right, so you got your chandelier, literally your stationary, your chandelier is going from one portal to the other portal. And then I think they dropped it already, but they said it's about 40,000 kilometers, however that breaks down into miles, from one portal to the other portal. However that math breaks down. So I haven't really got deep into that yet, but you can look it up, which would mean that what? I told you I knew how to time travel. And I'm going to tell you this much, but I won't tell you the drop. That basically, I think, because they already dropped it, so I'll drop this much. Essentially, if you go in a straight line for 40,000 kilometers, whatever the exact amount is, that's your space loop. If you go uninterrupted in a straight line, just like Back to the Future, but just imagine they went in a straight line, and let's say they went 40,000 kilometers, essentially they would zapping around back to the other portal. So if they went straight 40,000 kilometers somehow, you don't necessarily actually have to go 40,000 kilometers. Some of them are able to do some other technical ways of still traveling that distance. Some type of treadmill type of activity, right? You get it? 40,000 kilometers straight, or from east to west, or counterclockwise, clockwise. That's all the seed I'm going to lead y'all for those that really want to know the drop on time travel. Okay? So essentially going from 40,000 kilometers, you can space loop from one portal to the other portal, meaning you can go backwards and forwards in this illusion or this grid that's an artificial grid, but you can use it. It's set up where you can, traverse time, because in reality there is no time, right? So it's a system set up where you can go backwards and forwards and all this other stuff, but in reality there is no time and everything's connected anyway. But that's when you got to understand Israel, Kwam Yasharala, right? Because there's an energy signature to this awakening now. So everything's connected, and so are we in a very specific vibration. That's when it always breaks back down to frequency, energy, vibration. The simplest things to understand your nation, your tribes, all have different energy signatures. The Most High breathed his, he breathed into the Ruach of Adam, right? He breathed his Ruach into your heritage. So that's his breath, his sound, his vibration went into you as a heritage. As a heritage, you have his vibration, and you pass it from father to son, seed to seed, energy to energy. That's why it's so important to understand your habitat, because it's all related. Hey, all right? So check out this cool chandelier. All right, so you got above the firmament, everything's reflected up. It's a reflection above the waters. This is your habitat, and it's beautiful. Hey, it's all that exists. As the sun is traveling, it lights up those areas if it's coming on it high or low. Now look at the sun. Is it going in a circle or is it going in a straight line? It's literally staying level and it's going in a straight line. Your law of perspective makes it look like it's rising and setting. Law of perspective makes it look like there's a sunrise and a sunset. In reality, the further the sun goes out, the more it's going to drop based on law of perspective. It's dropping out of your eyesight, out of your eye line. So it's going to fall. You throw a fastball, you throw, tennis, anything else, anything drops off in the distance. Anything in the distance is going to drop off because you can only see so far. So based on that illusion, it appears that, they can play with your head and say, look, it's rising and setting. But then somehow, even though the sun's supposed to rise and set, it's all because of the earth and the wobble and the tilt and all the stuff they can't prove. They can't even give you a live feed from NASA showing one rotation of the earth. It's 2016. Can we get a live feed? Let's petition one live feed on one random satellite. I don't care where it's at. If you can go to the moon, you can put a satellite, camera on a satellite and give us a live feed so we can stop arguing, right? But until then, all we got is the independent balloon experiments, which we just showed. Go back to part 1, and there's many more of those independent experiments that's separate from the machine, and that's why they're important. So as the sun goes, it appears to go up and down, but no, it's going in a straight line. Straight line. Alright, that was cool. Check them out. We're going to keep it flowing, keep it going. Love to y'all. Thanks for vibing. It's getting cold on the balcony, so it's crazy, man, how it's like hella hot. Like they're literally heating up the whole fish bowl, right? And then they kind of turn it off, and then it gets hella cold. My wife said something the other day. She said, it's kind of like we was in a jacuzzi, and it's a regular night, but it feels colder because you've been baking in an oven, in a jacuzzi. And then you get out, and it's like a regular cool night, but you feel colder because you've been baking. You know what I mean? That's how it feels. Let me know if you feel the same. Shit, I could be tripping. Alright, so we covered some good stuff. We seen some balloon flights. Man, I gotta get to this King Smooth's perspective, man. Shout out to Shalak. He dropped some flat drop, and I said, man, I'll be remiss if I don't get to this flat drop, man. So let's get to this Smooth's perspective. Then we'll move on with some Enter the Stars. You know what? I might save Smooth's perspective because it's so good. I want to save it for later. All right. So Smooth, hang in there, Shalak. Hang in there, King. All right, we're gonna get to. Ooh, we got some good stuff. All right, cool. I'm glad I got all this stuff on here. I wasn't sure, but now I know. Now I know. Let's see, right quick. I'll just take y'all on a quick tour of the site. 432 to drop. I love featuring these YouTube authors, man. These are just great community members, man. So I'm gonna give all these guys their own category, where you'll be able to click, man. Shout out to Let Us Find the Truth because he has a great platform. Please go to Let Us Find the Truth. I believe it's Wix, Wix. But yeah, go ahead and check it out. Subscribe to Let Us Find the Truth. He has a wonderful platform. All right. Shout out to the Food Truck Network, man. We got these food trucks and swag frequency. We're shouting out their events. It's all good. Alright, so I got some of the latest drop that we just put up. Let Us Find the Truth. You already know. Flat drop coming up from Smooth's perspective. Man, shout out to this king, man, all day. You know what I'm saying? My man drops nothing but bombs. U.S. corporation. Alright, complex, some fashion drop. I gotta keep it interesting, man. I gotta keep that bait out there, man. Somebody might not care about nothing but about this drop that we dropping, but they'll care about this. And they'll come to the site, and we got them. Now they listen. Some cool drop to check out, man. On the Moore Shield, King Tut's Dagger, the Meteorite. That was part 2 of the other joint. Wonderful drop, man, from one Madison, man. Smiles, man. Smiles got a great compilation. Man, you know what I'll do? This is a Truth compilation she put together. I'm just gonna play it straight up from right here. I wasn't even expecting this, man. Here we go.
You've seen in recent history that was really for the people, what happened to them? They got killed. They got killed. Or they got castrated. If you look at, we were just talking about this, you don't think that is strange if they don't kill them and they have Parkinson's or they all fucked up and we're melanated people. We're built for this earth.
Greatest human specimen. They didn't produce Muhammad Ali during the Roman Empire. Look at it. White boys, they never said they was gonna kill him. They said we're gonna shut you up. Didn't it? Didn't it? See, that's the ones I hang out with.
Your brain has not affected your mental capacity at all. It has. You hope not. It has affected your movement. It has affected your speech. It has affected your facial expression, but it is not.
You have a bodyguard. You have. You don't.
I got one bodyguard. He has no eyes, though he sees. He has no ears, though he hears. He remembers everything with the aid of mind and memory. When he wishes to create a thing, he just orders it to be and it comes into existence.
So, what are you going to do when you retire from boxing?
So what am I going to do when I'm still fighting? I only have 16 years to be productive, get myself ready to meet God and go to the best place. My intention is to box to win a clean fight. But in war, the intention is to kill, and continue killing innocent people. That's what the business is war. I would like to hear this from you. And I want the world and the cameras to hear. Who's the heavyweight champion of the world?
Kings. To the heavyweight champion of the world. You know what I'm saying? Muhammad Ali. That's the spirit, man. We need a bunch of Muhammad Alis right now, man. We don't got to be as big and strong or, you know, physically this and that. We just got to be one in spirit. We got to be Muhammad Ali in spirit, man. So let the brother's legacy always live, man. Long live that king, man. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Inspiration.
Now, on the chart.
All right, Mark, man. King.
You can't read it, but it says at that 3, if your level's at a 3, you damn near dead. That's what it says. That you are damn near dead. The body cannot sustain an acid level of 3. Okay? So we're at a 4 point.
Shout out to Higher Mark, man. I need to get my acidity down, my alkaline up. Shout out to Chef Candy. That's what her whole my wife's approach, man, to how she does it is so marvelous, because being from Trinidad, she got that flavor. She got the Levitical diet in there, and then she's also, you know, specializing with alkaline ingredients and, you know, foods that are higher, lower in acidity, higher in energy. You know what I'm saying? So she calls it the Electric Trinity diet, the Electric Trinity cuisine. And her cookbook, man, is going to be, you know, Chef Candy's Electric Trinity recipes for the Most High. And how real is that, man? Shout out to Higher Mark. Shout out to Smiles, man. This is a true compilation. I like this. Let go.
5, so we're walking dead.
We have to strengthen and refine our souls first.
Kings the hallway.
We can't just skip out. Of course, some of us might not like each other out there, but or some of you are scared, but
drop.
Why? You should be more scared here.
Drop.
If you think about it, this is they kill our kids.
Drop.
They kill our people.
Drop.
You know, it's just they harvest our organs.
Drop. Oh no!
Nah.
Video of a video.
I want these Israelites to wake up. I want you guys to wake up, because that's going to help everybody. That's going to help the world.
Assimilation of assimilation.
That's what they're going to see. They're going to see you guys are here to put things in order for everyone.
Man, that hat gotta go. That hat gotta go.
I went back to South Carolina.
Kings the M.W. Smith, research specialist extraordinaire.
Couldn't even sit down to be at the same table when he prayed for a blessing over his food. I couldn't stand listening to no Jesus talk. No prayers to Jesus. Especially after I've been to Washington to protest.
That's right.
Against the Pope and dumb diverses. You couldn't pay me to sit down and eat food that was prayed to in Jesus' name.
Dumb Diverses, 1452. It's created June 8th.
Kings to the brother Lex Will.
Is the decree. The Pope's seat makes a decree, and this decree, this law is spread throughout the world. And this puts us, you, me, with dark skin, in perpetual slavery. This makes us born into a caste system.
Dumb Diverses. Look it up. 1452. Look it up. Papal Bull. Look it up. Lex Will. Subscribe. Kings the brother for his vision. Support the GoFundMe. They say 432. What are you about? This brother has given us a refined purpose, man. Right when I was looking for it the most, like, what can I do with this? I knew whatever, you know, wherever I swung this sword, hey, man, it was going to cut, but he made it cut directly through our community for the good, man. To snatch us one more good time out of the illusion. So now what's the next step? Everyone's trying to, what do we do? Get out of the plantation, man. Get off the reservation, man. Do what your ancestors did. Walk out. Go back to the wilderness where you're going to vibrate. Can't nobody promise your safety there, and can't nobody promise your safety here. I don't know what's coming there, but I do know what's coming here. And we will get to that, man. Kings Lex will, man.
We are not of Africa. Some of us were Hamitic and left a long time ago. This has to do with the Bible. This has to do with Bible prophecy. This has to do with the Israelites that have been born into slavery, whose ancestors started slavery 399 years ago, so says the Slave Bill of Trade.
Just wanted to do a little
Shalak.
bit more information on
King
what's
to Shalak.
coming out of Utah. So, we all know about Carmel in the Bible. Well, we've got Mount Carmel in Utah. Where? Utah. Not here. Or, not over there. Here. Everything's here, man. It's just crazy.
Man, Keys to Lex Will. Keys to Let Us Find the Truth. High Mark. Shalak. Hallway. So much more, man. Winifred Holcomb. So many more. Everybody, man, it's just, every day someone's popping up, man. Smiles. Our community grows because we're in it, man, for the journey. We're in it for the journey, man. Everybody's stuck on stalemate. Thinking they, from another land. We reconnected to our land. We walking out. Whenever that is, that is. Deal with it. Exodus.
Why is that? Why is that the majority of melanin-rich people have native ancestry? That we all came from Africans. Why is that? If we all came from Africans, there should at least be some kind of oral story that's going on between the elders and the young, because I don't think they want to forget their roots. Like if you from Africa, you would have been proud, you would have passed that down from generation to generation. You would have ensured that they got that knowledge and it stayed in your family. Why is that? Why is we didn't get that? Why did we get, oh, my mother is Cherokee, my mom is Choctaw, my great grandmother was Seminole? Why is that? Why did we get the indigenous oral history passed down, but not the African history? Think about
Some of the sludge of this storm that I have to deal with is, am I this color?
Queens
as
to
an
Chief
Indian
Warhol.
because of African descent? Or am I this color because this is the color of my ancestors?
Putting in that work.
Well, the truth to that lies with the anthropologists, if they tell the truth. Because as they dig into the grounds, they have found people and they know they look like I look. But do they want to be politically correct as a white man to stay in standing with his white man? Or do he want to just let the truth lie in the basement? If you will look into the older court records of Louisiana, you'll find my people there. But it be looked upon by some people as Europeans. Because the white man duplicated every last name he gave to us after being forced to take a family name. He duplicated those same names. So now, then you could easily say, well, it's not the black greens, it's the white greens. It's not the black Dupree, it's the white Dupree. But I was always told the proof is in the pudding. So in my family, we didn't tell the white folks all our business. So when they stole our identity, mispronounced it as Choctaw, they would come back into Lacombe, see our ways of living, and then they would mimic this back in
Deal with it, deal with it. Gotta deal with it. Get killed with it. Freestyling facts, man, get it right. Looking around, you like, is this night or is it day? Every time they switching off, they King Griffey hitting off, getting on. I don't give down. I don't care, man. You already know I don't care. I do this for fun. All right, man, yeah, so 42 to drop. You'll see some of that smiles. Smile with her now. Smile for me now. What else we got on there? Got some of that word drop. Got some of that science drop. Shout out to BP Earthwatch. You know what I'm saying? Man, That's just all that stuff was put on there today, so I don't really have time to do all that every day like this. But you know, today I got some time, so I was able to kind of update it. This is the where we at? Here we go. Yeah, this is the next page. I mean, all this stuff is from today. You gotta check this out. I'll just let you. I'll just play the first. I'll play the first minute. Just the first minute. I told you this is another system in the sky. I showed you.
Okay.
I showed you this with my own camera.
That is not the sun.
But watch this.
That is not the sun. See that? Okay. Over here is the setting sun.
That's all I'm gonna show you. You go check it out at 42 to drop.
Oh my God!
I know. She crazy. I know. Look,
Okay.
guys.
That is not the sun. That is not the sun. See that? Okay. Over here is the setting sun.
Do you understand? One more time.
Oh my God!
This is the Midwest. This is June 5th. This is 2 days ago or yesterday, whatever.
That is not the sun.
That's not the sun.
That is not the sun.
That's not the sun.
See that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Over here is the setting sun.
On the other side of the sky. Okay. All right. Right.
Oh my God!
I know, lady. I know, lady. I be acting like that too sometimes. I mean, people are getting like images. Like, watch that. Remember, I showed you something green, and there's multiple of them. Like, it looks like a solar system. Like, you know, like the whole Nibiru thing. Except these are angels when we understand it. But, you know, you can see it for yourself.
So in this little picture here, I did check this against Mars. Mars is not part of this photo.
That's not Mars. All right. So that was put up there today as well. What else we got? Some historic drop. Oh, that's the first joint. Transfer of inheritance. Check it out. I mean, this is just some good building right here. You know what I mean? Let's see, drop. Garden of Eden. Had a great time watching that. Vibing to that Isaiah 40. Venezuela, our prayers are with them. You know what I mean? And we see what's happening there. It's going to happen here. This is America. We're still here. Shout out to Smiles. I got to keep it going. Why They Fear the Tribes. You know what I mean? Go check all three of those out. Because that'll let you know what your power really is. When you hear about Jacob slaughtering 200,000 people on his own, and Judah slaughtering another 200, 300,000 on his own, then you will understand why they made a confederacy against you. Psalms 83. None of these nations want you awake. None of these nations want you awake. None of these melanated tribes even want you awake. It's too much power. You got too much power. They don't like it. Trust me. Check out Smiles, man. Madison. Subscribe. Drop or die. All right, back to that Let Us Find the Truth. Wonderful. Political drop. Shout out to that king again. This is TYT Turks, you know what I'm saying, the Young Turks. So that's some good drop on that. Social Security. Tyrone Street always got the drop. Check this joint out. It's called Sacred Ground. This is all put up there today. Money drop. Check out that latest money drop from William Mount, the doctor over there, talking some monies. You already know the conspiracy dude always got some great theories. This Eminem one is outrageous, so gotta check that one out. So that's what's going on the drop. Thank y'all for, coming through, kicking it. And pretty soon, this is where you're gonna find us on a little, radio, chat room. We're gonna keep all that stuff going. We're gonna put up our own videos on our own platform. We're not gonna depend on none of these third-party social media sites that we know are owned by our enemies, right? So we can only exist here for a short period of time before they clamp down too much on our information. And even then, you know what I'm saying, they'll eventually take out the entire internet. But by that time, I get excited. Take out the internet. By that time, man, we should have a plan. By that time, we should be, you know, as a unit, you know, understanding some things. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, that's what's going on the drop. We'll get back to that smooth perspective in a little bit. Let's go right now to Enter the Stars, who's going to break down a little bit of the reflection stuff going on above. You know what I'm saying? You know, the waters above, the firmament above, and what we're actually seeing was with some of these time-lapse videos that are showing some very interesting things. Okay, Into the Stars. Subscribe to that king. He does great work. All right. Again, we don't all have to believe in every single thing together, but we're putting the information together, and I think that's pretty dope.
Now, what you're looking at is a view from Kenya, Africa.
Kenya.
And standing at exactly the equator. The stars in the middle of your view, the middle of the zenith, will move in exactly a straight line. But when you look to the right of the sky, the stars will travel in a direction opposite than the side over here on this side. One is going counterclockwise and one is going clockwise, and in the middle it's going straight up and
quick. You know how they do my internet sometimes. They just jump me. Jump man. Something. They say too much drop. You cannot drop it anymore. It's too much drop for the people. Let's get it from the top. So you're looking at, you know, like you see the time lapse and you see the spirals, but we only see them from our side. On the other side, there's spirals and they're going the other direction. And they were like, well, why are the spirals on that side of the world, right? If you're on a ball, why do these spirals on this side of the equator go this way and these go this way when you're spinning one way? Either way, here's someone in Kenya doing a wonderful job at the equator, shooting up time lapse, and this is what they get from the time lapse. In the middle at the equator is a straight line. We just saw the space loop. We just saw the fourth dimension joint with the stars going in a straight line. Which would mean what? This would be just reflection. Reflection off of what? Let's see. So the illusion of the spiral is just a reflection, whether you're on this side of the equator or that side. But from the center, it's straight. So are all the stars just kind of moving straight, fixed over, just like that video was showing on the fourth dimension space loop? Which means the sun is also kind of moving in and out of portals. And once it goes so far, it zooms back to the other side. Or it goes, you know, through that portal and flips back to the other side, which is how they time travel. You can go straight, uninterrupted in a straight line, however they do it. Whatever technology is going on. I have a pretty good idea in my head. But again, I think I've dropped enough. So let's check it out. This is some time-lapse stuff, and it goes right hand in hand with the space loop.
the secrets of this universe. Now, what you're looking at is a view from Kenya, Africa. And standing at exactly the equator. The stars in the middle of your view, the middle of the zenith, will move in exactly a straight line. But when you look to the right of the sky, the stars will travel in a direction opposite than the side over here on this side. One is going counterclockwise and one is going clockwise, and in the middle it's going straight up and down. How can this be? somehow the image that we're seeing in the sky is a reflection or a refraction, which completely explains the reversal of the moon being upside down, the sun being upside down, the stars moving in the opposite direction in the southern hemisphere. Let's take a look. Now, a round Earth cannot create this effect, as far as I know.
No.
What we're looking at is a mirror effect of some kind.
A mirror.
Or a refraction of some kind of lens. Now, this is interesting. This was a post by Casey Chan. I'm going to play a portion of this video.
What's cool is that this brother, I believe he, still considers himself a Christian and all that, which is his own business. But he also, I believe, used to believe the earth was round. From my earlier takes on his videos, he would kind of say things that led me to believe he thought the earth was round and a ball spinning. So he's appearing to me to be coming into a new revelation, and he's sharing it, which shows a great deal of integrity, because once you put yourself on a record, say, the earth is round, it's hard for you to come back and say, oops, sorry, I was thinking I was spinning the whole time. It takes a lot of humility to do that, and most people won't have the ability to do it, and they will be then purposely misleading their people. Instead of telling them the truth when they got the truth to drop, dropping the drop when they got the drop again. I'm theorizing, so I'm free. I'm free to be wrong. We're in a classroom putting a theory together, and it's pretty hot, right? It's pretty fun, right? To be in a classroom free, of the limitation of someone saying, you're wrong. Like, so what? So what? But am I wrong about frequency and the importance of our vibration? Am I wrong about being indigenous? Am I wrong about gravity being a theory, not a law? Am I wrong about our oldest commandments being in stone right here in Los Lunas, New Mexico? So are we not the people? Are we wrong about Columbus saying himself that he came to America to recapture Jerusalem, Mount Zion, the holy city? So where was he going? To capture Jerusalem. Where? America. So who was here fighting for Jerusalem? The same people that had the commandments in stone. Who were they? I'll wait. Who are these indigenous people that were fighting for the holy city that you never heard about your war? Could they be the one people, the one people on earth that don't have a clue who they are? Whose light has been closed from their eyes? This man showing you a mirror effect, and it looks the exact same as the time-lapse photo. Symmetry here, reflection here, reflection here. Spiraling this way, spiraling that way. Both hemispheres. Equator. Check it out.
This will blow your mind. This is taken inside of a perfect mirror globe, as if you were standing inside a reflecting mirror that surrounded you like a sphere. I don't have all the answers, you guys, but I know what I see when I look at this image. And what we're looking at is reflections and refractions of an image. And we don't see this miracle with stop motion photography that is happening before our eyes. This is the image through a raindrop, and it is completely turned upside down. And when you start to think of things in these terms, then you start to understand that maybe we're looking at a reflection. Let's take a look at this short video.
But don't get too enamored with your reflection, because mirrors don't show you as you really are.
What this man was demonstrating is that when you're standing in exactly the middle of this mirror globe, that you see your face fully in your reflection. But then when you step away from it, from the center, backwards, you flip upside down.
Okay.
But when you approach the side of the mirror from the middle, inside, you are right side up. So, in effect...
So what is causing the reflection if we are proving or showing in experimentation repeatable and observable science? We're being scientific. Remember, when your family starts calling you crazy because you say the earth is flat, remember, it's not flat. It has hills and valleys and stuff like that. But no, it's not a ball of water spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, going at 67,000 miles per hour. You know what I mean? Chasing the sun and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? All this movement, you don't feel shit. And you don't ask no questions why you don't feel shit. But then you feel the slightest breeze. The slightest breeze. Birds are flying freely. LeBron is doing reverse dunks. This gravity's not affecting them that much, but it's crushing millions of tons of water. It's crushing millions of tons of water. Water can't escape this immense force that's crushing millions of tons of water. It's so strong that it's attracting the moon. It won't let it out of its gravitational force. But the birds just do whatever the fuck they want to do. Excuse me, man, but it's ridiculous. The lies make you pissed off. Birds are not affected because of what? Oh, they're in their own atmosphere. And, you know what I'm saying? You put them in a container. Come on, man. So you got a contained environment of water? Contained environment of water? But you got a perfectly still lake. But you're spinning at 1,100 miles per hour. So he's showing you a mirror effect that seems to resemble this time-lapse stuff. And if that's the case, then what's reflecting it? Now you have this crystallized vibrational layer above you.
It is mimicking the image that we're seeing here as we're looking at the night sky from the equator only. When you're in the northern hemisphere, the stars go only one direction and they spin. And if you were to step over a few feet in the southern hemisphere, they spin in the opposite direction. Here is another image of a ball of water in weightlessness in space. And they are...
Hilarious. Hilarious. Somebody left a comment when I said I've never seen a ball of water spinning. I said no one's ever shown an experimentation of water curving into a ball. Now, what's the hook? Remember, this is supposed to duplicate the Earth. So in the center of this ball needs to be a gravitational force, like a magnet, showing how this force is crushing water into a ball. And then you have to spin it. And then you have to fly that thing at 67,000 miles per hour and show me that water is not going to just do what it does naturally, which is just try to exit from all that spinning, right? Now remember, gravity is supposed to be at the core of the Earth. There's a core, there's a gravitational core, and we're crushed in this ball by gravity. This mother just says, hey, well, you want to see gravity? I mean, you want to see water curve into a ball? Look at the zero gravity experiments. Whoa, I gotta go see a zero gravity ball for an experiment of the Earth whose model is based on gravity? I gotta go see a zero gravity bubble? A bubble in zero gravity? Curve into a ball? To replicate the Earth whose model is based on the theory of gravity? If I ever see this mother, don't make me pull the legs whip. If I ever see this, all right. But that's insulting, man.
Showing that it actually turns things up. I looked at some scriptures in the Bible to see if I could get any more clues.
Let's go.
And it says here, or darkness that can't see, and abundance of water cover thee. Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold the height of the stars, how high they are. And thou sayest, how does God know? Can he judge through the dark cloud? The clouds are a covering to him, that he seeth not. And he walketh in the circuit of heaven. Now this is the King James Version. Praise him, ye heavens of heavens, and ye waters that be above the heavens. Are there some kind of waters above the heavens that are reflecting this image to us? If any of you have any experience with lenses and domes.
I mean, honestly, what do you want? You're getting scripture, you're getting the fourth dimension, space loop, you're getting experimentation, you're getting independent balloon test, you're getting separate sources, you're getting second suns, you're getting smiles, you're getting smooth perspective in a minute, and I'm about to hit you with some simulation drop. What a combination to wake your ass up.
Mirrors that would create this kind of effect on a given surface. Please come forward and let's brainstorm and talk about it. So I dug a little deeper into the scriptures, and I saw how Lucifer fell from heaven, possibly as a star, and how he said, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Maybe in this water region that we just saw in the last verse. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Now, for those of you that believe in God and have faith in Jesus Christ in the Bible, and take it as the indelible doctrine of...
Now, obviously, this is where we part ways. You said those who believe in God, but those who have to, follow this doctrine of this Jesus Christ in the New Testament, in which they found us here, invaded us, and gave us as a hijack of our direct energy flow and transfer, which ushered in the illusion of seclusion. So he contradicts everything with that hijack alone. We're talking about the Creator. Goodness gracious, can't we just talk about the Creator? I created the heaven and earth, Genesis. Did Jesus create the heaven and earth? Some camps would be like, oh yeah, man, he was there. His spirit, his ruach was always there. I'm like, well, then that's the Creator. Just call him the Creator. No one else has to be magically there present. Why don't you just give it up? We can do the most magical things and we'd be like, I'll give it up to the Creator in the name of his Son. No, the Son, the Son. If your enemy worships the Son, why do you? If you see that these sun pyramids had a harmonic to them that was artificial to the natural harmonic of the earth, why are you worshiping the sun? Return to your Creator. He gives all that great drop and says, man, I hope y'all believe in Jesus, man. You see the hijack? That's not the same as saying, man, I hope you believe in my Creator. I hope you believe in the Creator of heaven, the Creator of earth. I hope you believe in what I'm, the Creator of all these things. But you better believe in Jesus. Jesus said he's the Savior. He's coming back. The Creator says, there is no Savior beside me. The first commandment, don't put no other God before me, but Jesus is Lord. Don't put no other God before me. Jesus is Lord. He's the Son. He's on the right-hand side. Yeah, he has the key. He's Christos. He's Crestus. Serapis. He's Zeus. He's Apollyon. He's Apollo. He's Abaddon. And he will have the keys to the bottomless pit. And those that follow this idol will have to go through Jesus, Zeus, Isus, Zeus, Apollo, Apollyon, Abaddon to get to the bottomless pit. You will have to go through Jesus to get to the bottomless pit. That's all I'm going to say. We're talking flat drop. But here's the hijack. And, we already know what time it is.
Creator. The Bible is clear. And God doesn't make mistakes.
That's true.
The sun is what stands still, not the earth.
Mm-hmm.
If the earth was rotating around the sun, he would say that the earth stood still, and that is what caused the sun to stop in the sky. Instead, in these 3 Bible verses, the sun and the moon stand still in their habitation. Not the earth stops spinning. Again, God doesn't make mistakes. Now let's get into the book of Enoch and see what it has to say. And Enoch confirms here that it is the stars and the moon and the sun that are moving, not the earth. By his oath, the sun and moon complete their progress, never swerving from the command given to them forever and ever. By this oath, the stars complete their progress. We see clearly here that everything exists on winds, and that is what governs the movement of heavenly bodies as well as the clouds of the earth. They're on separate wind tracks, as it says here. I surveyed the receptacles of all the winds, perceiving that they contributed to adorn the whole creation and to preserve the foundation of the earth. I surveyed the stone which supports
winds. If it's all about wind, then it's all about what? What is wind? It's an interesting question, right? What is wind? What carries wind? Is it not sound, frequency, energy, vibration? Right. So if it's all about wind, then it's all about vibration.
Towards the corners of the earth. Now, it uses
the
the word corners. So we have to be careful here. I also beheld the four winds which bear up the earth and the firmament of heaven. And I beheld the winds occupying the exalted sky, the heavens, arising in the midst of heaven and of earth, and constituting the pillars of heaven. I saw the winds which turn the sky, which cause the orb of the sun and all of the stars to set, or to move around the sky. And over the earth I saw the winds which support the clouds. So two separate wind tracks. I perceived at the extremity of the earth the firmament of heaven above it. Then I passed on toward the south. So he started in the north, and he saw the firmament of heaven. Firmament of heaven, which means heaven is firm, just like the earth is firm. Then I passed on toward the south. Then he gives more descriptions of what he saw in the south. Now this is interesting, because Enoch talks about the stars, and that this place until the consummation of heaven and earth will be the prison of the stars and the host of heaven. Up above this firmament, the stars which roll over fire are those which transgressed the commandment of God before their time arrived, for they came not in their proper season. Therefore was he offended with them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year. So basically, there is a time where there will be a consummation between heaven and earth. And we know that. And the firmament between us will be erased, is what Enoch is saying here. Which is, to me, it's fascinating. Because
absolutely fascinating. When he dropped this, it just made me think like, whoa, so the new heaven, there won't be any more separation. There'll be no reason to separate above from below when we're all vibrating in the frequency above the firmament. Once we're all in that 432 or that 864, that 1728, that 3456, once we are vibrating those octaves, those higher heavens, there's no barrier in between us. That's why we have to understand the road is narrow now. You can vibrate, you can just reconnect within. The kingdom is within. The kingdom is within. You connect the head within yourself. You reconnect to that energy on the Shabbat. You shut it down that one day a week to vibrate, to meditate above the firmament, reconnect, get your power back. Get your power back. Come back to life and activate. Because one day there will be no barrier, which means what? Anybody that's not in that frequency can't exist in that particular reality. But we'll get to the simulation. Just add some good, fun thinking energy.
Because it could explain how the image of the stars is reflected, and we are seeing an image of it rather than the actual stars themselves. And as we read on in Enoch, we see the truth about why the heavens were made. They were made for us.
Whoa, for us.
So that we could see God's glory. They were made for man.
Hey.
Universe and infinite planets and infinite other things. It was made for man. And that there were 3 heavenly gates. It says here, through each of these small gates the stars of heaven passed on and proceeded toward the west by a path which was seen by them, and that at every period of their appearance, when I beheld them, I blessed. Every time is which they appeared, I blessed the Lord of glory, who had made these great and splendid signs, that they might display the magnificence of his works to angels and to the souls of men, and that these might glorify all his works and operations, might see the effect of his power, might glorify the great labor of his hands, and bless him forever. And here is the hope, and here is why we are a little bit different. In his presence he existed, and is revealed to the saints and to the righteous the wisdom of the Lord of spirits. For he has preserved the lot of the righteous, because they have hated and rejected the world of iniquity, and have detested all its works and ways, in the name of the Lord of spirits. We don't love this world. We love the Lord of the spirits, God, and for that they have hated and rejected forever. And here is the hope, and here is why we are a little bit different.
A little bit different.
In his presence he existed, and is revealed to the saints and to the righteous the wisdom of the Lord of spirits. For he has preserved the...
When he reveals the wisdom. See, wisdom is not knowledge. That's why some people are like, you know, checking into some of these brothers coming up nowadays, you know, checking into some of this drop. And they're like, yo, like, why has that not connected before? And that's wisdom. That's energy. It's different than a bunch of books and a bunch of, you know, so-called leaders, so-called scholars, you know what I'm saying? And peace to everyone who's come before with any drop. But clearly, there has been a divide from reconnecting you to the fact that you are being invaded, that you are the people that were invaded on your own land, that the only solution is exiting the plantation Harriet Tubman style. She said, I could have freed 1,000 more slaves if they only understood they were slaves, but we're okay on the plantation. We're okay just going back, just staying on that wheel, paying stuff that we got no business paying, not building our nation, not putting our talent into our community, our energy into our community instead of just being servants. That's why the Torah says, Esdras, is Israel a homeborn slave? Are we born to be slaves? Are we born to be servants? Are we a peculiar people? Are they not all exploiting our talents and abilities? Making billions of dollars off of our talents and abilities. Why can't we do that for ourselves? Well, I'm telling you, you're already all united. You just have to activate. Vibrate on your land. Support that GoFundMe. We're trying to figure out how to, you know, get some land, put some crops on there already, have something popping. Check out all the drop on this Zion National Park stuff because that's all free. Free, free, free. What's a free solution? Here might be one. Matter of fact, here is one. And all you got to do is start gearing up. Because you don't want to be in these cities when they start really exterminating you. And you can check out that King Alfred's plan in the radio archives, 432thedrop.com show archives.
Lot of the righteous, because they have hated.
One more time, man. I really love this vibration right here.
Might see the effect of his power, might glorify the great labor of his hands, and bless him forever. And here is the hope, and here is why we are a little bit different. In his presence he existed, and is revealed to the saints and to the righteous the wisdom of the Lord of spirits.
Wisdom.
For he has preserved the lot of the righteous.
He has preserved the lot of the righteous.
And rejected the world of iniquity, and have detested all its works.
He has preserved the lot of the righteous because they have hated wickedness, right? So what lot has been preserved for you? All right, if this is your land, you are from here, what lot has been preserved for you? Look around. I don't know. The only place I can think of that has been preserved are what they call national preserves. Are what the government and the state are fighting for. 770 million acres of your land. All that Zion National Park, Canyonland, Arches National Park, all those national parks are your indigenous land. They took you away from your natural vibration and brought you into man-made cities for you to be servants. Go back into your wildernesses that have been traveled by your ancestors before you, and they have left signs. They have left breadcrumbs and dwelling places. You are them, they are you. You are now waking up to energize and connect again.
Ways, in the name of the Lord of Spirits.
Yeah.
We don't love this world. We love the Lord of the Spirits, God, and for that we will be hated. And in those last days, the saints and the chosen shall undergo a change. The light of day shall rest upon them, and the splendor and glory of the saints shall be changed. And the day of trouble, evil, shall be heaped up upon sinners. But the righteous shall triumph in the name of the Lord of Spirits. Others shall be made to see that they must repent and forsake the works of their hands, and that glory awaits them, not in the presence of the Lord of Spirits, yet that by his name they be saved. The Lord of Spirits will have compassion on them, for great is his mercy, and righteousness is in his judgment, in the presence of his glory. Nor in his judgment shall iniquity stand. He who repents not before him shall perish. Henceforth I will not have mercy on them, saith the Lord of Spirits. So everyone will be given a final chance to see the miracle of God's glory before the end. And the thoughts of those who dwell on the earth shall transgress within them, and they shall be perverted in all their ways. They shall transgress and think themselves gods, while evil shall be multiplied among them.
I just saw that movie Gods of Egypt for the first time because I had to try to get the babies out, man. All these white people playing Egyptians and gods. But yeah, man, they thought themselves gods, right? These Nephilim, their seeds, they walked around as gods amongst men. But if they're gods amongst men, and you come from the actual energy of Heya, 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 I am that I am, the creator, how much more powerful are you? Literally. How sleep do you gotta be to be in this state without your power, without your size, without your vibration? Maybe it's because you keep putting it in Christ's name or someone else's name or letting something hijack your frequency. Maybe it's because you think you're spinning. Maybe it's because you think you're from Africa and you haven't connected back to your indigenous roots and your indigenous land, your artifacts, your dwelling places, your riches, your identity. They found you here.
And the punishment shall come upon them, so that all of them shall be destroyed. Now, just before this verse, Enoch talks about how everything in the sky is going to change, and that the seasons will be late, and fruit won't bear from trees. Now, anytime we hear a star falling in heaven or the book of Enoch, it falls from heaven to earth. How can that be if the stars are billions of miles away and could fall and destroy planets?
Right.
How can that be that these stars fall from heaven to earth all the time in the book of Enoch in the Bible? And here, Enoch tells us what the stars are, all called by their respective names. In a righteous balance I saw it. He weighed out their light, the amplitude of their places, and the day of their appearance and their conversion. Splendor produced splendor, and their conversion was into the number of angels and of the faithful. We and the angels are represented in the stars. Then I inquired of the angel who proceeded with me, and explained to me secret things, what their names were. He answered, a similitude of those has the Lord of spirits shown thee. They are the names of the righteous who dwell upon the earth, and who believe in the name of the Lord of spirits forever.
Hey.
Now we can understand why the morning star signified the coming of Jesus.
Whoa.
And now we can understand
Whoa. This text he's reading from said nothing of the sort. Now, as a Christian, as a hijacked citizen, a citizen of hijack USA, you have to then go back to the sun, worship, and say, oh, you know, now that I think about it, you just said stars are falling from the heaven, from firmament. Now he's going to tie that into why Christ. Well, what did he say? Why Christ is the morning star? If Lucifer is called the morning star, and Christ is called the morning star, maybe get it, but it's real, you know. I'm rocking with my brother because he has a lot of good drop, but man, come on, man.
I'll just let it ride out. Spirits shown thee. They are the names of the righteous who dwell upon the earth, and who believe in the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. Now we can understand why the morning star signified the coming of Jesus.
Man.
And now we can understand why Lucifer fell like lightning from heaven. And there was a time when all the
morning stars signified Lucifer, right? And he signified Jesus. So why did he just make a distinction, like why he's called, you know, why he's falling down like lightning? No, they were both the morning star.
Morning stars sang together, or all the stars sang together in heaven before the fall of Lucifer. Do you see how all this can start to fit together?
Yeah.
And now as you view the image of the inside of a spoon and the outside of the spoon.
Back to the drop.
And you realize that they spin or are in opposite directions. I now want you to look at this papyrus symbol.
Yeah, man.
Ancient Egyptian. And imagine that this is one spoon, the outer edge, and that this is the other image with the inner spoon.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is going the other direction than the other. But at the equator, at this line, they appear to be going straight across. And here, they're moving in one direction. And down here, they're moving in another. This is ancient Egyptian papyrus. Did they know something that we don't? Take care and be safe, you guys.
Okay. And you remember, you know, I dropped already in the previous flat drops, and we'll drop some more, you know, with the whole Egyptian glyph with the goddess, I believe that's Nut, doing, you know, the goddess of the sky. She's arching over Geb, her brother, who's representative of the earth. She has stars within her, not outside of her. So they understand the stars are within her. The goddess of the sky, the sun, the moon is also within her, not outside of her. And then you have the Ra and Thoth and all these other guys outside, like angels, you know, like they're outside the firmament, but they're really not. Yeah. All right, so I don't want to do a part 3. I'm going to try to go real fast, real fast. Let's go. I'm just going to drop this on you. This is some simulated drop. I'm going to let it fall wherever it falls. I'm not going to explain it. We're just going to just vibe to it and see where it falls. All right, but just, yeah, let's have fun. Let's have a thought process right quick. Let's have a good time. Consciousness. Hijack.
Physical reality is best modeled as a virtual digital reality. That's how it's modeled in My Big Toe. And consciousness is best modeled as a digital information system. We're going to do physics first, and then we'll do metaphysics. Physics. The main piece of physics that is probing at the fundamentals of reality right now is quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics basically sees particles as probability distributions. It sees the fundamentals of our existence as a probability distribution. You've probably heard of the double slit experiment. It's kind of a famous thing in physics, but some of you probably not physicists.
An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. But we get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought, maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So, they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits, and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one, and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly.
So now we're going to observe the particle. Before, they were just letting it fly. They didn't really see if it collided with each other. Then they did one at a time, and it was still doing the same pattern, wave pattern. Now we're observing it. Let's see what happens when we observe the particle.
But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. And it was
consciousness. See, when they go to the all-seeing eye, they're really talking about consciousness, but they put up a hybrid consciousness, a simulation within the simulation. You can call it a simulation or you can call it consciousness. Right? Are we a part of a greater consciousness? And if we are part of a greater consciousness that has created a simulation, that we are now filling out these particular designs in the coding of things, the design of things. All right, what's going to happen next? Are we going to continue in a simulation? Or is it going to be like, all right, game over. Now it's time to judge some souls. You know, based on this simulation, I know if you've been naughty or nice. I know if you're in order or chaos based on how you performed in the simulation. Some people say, how can God allow all these people to be slaughtered? What if they were only slaughtered in the simulation? Maybe the matrix is a grid within the grid, a construct, a hijacked construct underneath the vibrational layer of the firmament that keeps you into space and time, just like the matrix. When you're unplugged, you're back to being consciousness, connected to each other, affecting each other. And the simple act of observing one of these single electrons made it perform the way you would believe you would be observing it. So now that whole process changed because it was conscious of it being observed, so it performed the way it thought you would want it to. The way that you believed it should. So if you're holding a glass of water, those molecules, those electrons, those particles, those vibrations that make up that glass of water, are they simply performing that dance because you're observing it? And how do you know when you turn your back and you're not observing it that it's actually still performing that dance? Is it observational? Is it your belief? Is it assimilation? Let's go.
Here, that physicists stepped forever into the strange, never world of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
Okay, now there are many interpretations of why it does this and what it means. A lot of physicists have been trying. Now this was started back in the late 20s and the 30s. All of this was a big deal, and physicists were working very hard on this. There's still a big deal and working hard on it. They haven't really made any progress since the 20s and 30s. Made very little real progress. And all of the theories of what does it mean, what is it saying about reality, none of them have made it into the center of physics. They're all on the fringe. I'll just talk about a couple of them. The one that's most common is called the Copenhagen interpretation. Basically what it says is that if you have a probability of being in n states, when you measure it, you just get a random value. One of those states, randomly, you get that, you measure that value. Okay, then there's one that says consciousness causes collapse, and that comes from the idea that you have to be aware, you have to measure it. Some consciousness has to take a measurement, and that causes it to collapse to the measured value. Now when I say collapse, it's a wave function. They talk about wave functions, but it's really probability wave is what we're talking about. Cause it to collapse to a certain value. Vibration. Another one is called consistent histories. And that says, well, it's not random state that it collapses to. It's a state based on what happened before, what its history was. And then there's one of many worlds. And I have to mention that David Deutsch at Oxford is one of your countrymen. He's one of the foremost researchers in the many worlds area. Actually, he's published some very good work just recently on this, made some progress. The many worlds says that, all right, you have n states that it could be in. That means it's probability function. In quantum mechanics, you don't necessarily have a smeared continuous probability. There's a probability only certain states can exist. So if there's n states, he says all n of them happen. Everything can happen, does happen, except the one that happens in this reality, is where we live. The ones that happen in other parallel realities, we don't know about. But there is a separate physical parallel reality for every state. Well, of course, there's billions.
Different simulations of the simulation, right? I know it gets kind of head heavy, but like I said, take this as water. Don't try to say, well, just let it settle. You know what I mean? Where it lies. Like, you could just throw this out. Who cares, right? So this is only for the thinkers, you know what I'm saying? This is for the people in the classroom that really want to be challenged, to see how this, how this drop falls, how this dew hits the grass, you know what I'm saying?
Ends of states. Every electron has multiple states. There's a lot of electrons. So, there's a problem here as well. The problem, of course, that they had with the Copenhagen one is that if it's just a random choice, then that creates two problems. One, all of this reality that we see before us is based upon random choices. That does not compute. Also, that means that if you do the same experiment twice, you won't get the same answer. Well, physicists don't like that either. So both of those were problems. That's why I say none of these theories are problem-free. Okay, there was another one called Many Minds. It was sort of a combination of consciousness causes collapse and many worlds. And basically, it said that the many worlds weren't physical, but they were mental.
And they fill it with their subconscious.
Now, quickly, remember, we're getting this information from our enemies. I don't want to call this guy an enemy, but he's a product of a system set up on a supremacy caste system of our enemies. So let us find the truth, drop some great information, with the blazing star and the Aryan thing, what I'm saying, and how the Shemites, deal inwardly, not outwardly. So they are trying to understand us outwardly. They are still trying to inquire about who you are. They published articles inquiring about your distinctive characteristics in the Boston Society. I will drop more on that in the 1800s, 1840s. So they have a theory about where you come from. They also have a theory about your God, the voice within you. They don't understand it. They're calling it assimilation. So don't get off track. It always comes back home, right? Right? We surf this wave all the time. It always comes back home. So just keep vibing.
How could I ever acquire enough detail to make them think that it's reality?
Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange. Let me ask you a question. You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on.
I guess, yeah.
So how did we end up here?
Well, we just came from the,
Think about it, Ariadne. How did you get here? Where are you right now?
Oh.
We're dreaming.
You're actually in the middle of the workshop right now, sleeping. This is your first lesson in shared dreaming. Stay calm.
So where are you? If they're in the workshop, are you actually somewhere else? All right. Are these actually a bunch of energetic signals of senses and touch and smell and all these things like that? Are you in Haya's workshop? Huh? Are you going through assimilation sitting around in Haya's workshop? Huh? Trying to tune up, pass some tests, get to other levels. You got to think about this in an infinite way because you don't understand. It's all energy. So we're trying to overstand and get over the bridge, over the hump, man. And, yeah, man, disclaimer, fair use, fair use. You know what I mean? Anything that's in here is for educational purposes. Hope everybody appreciates, allowing us to suffer through this and connect the dots.
Right, now there's other big pictures besides that one. Edward Fredkin created digital physics in 1992 when he published two papers. The first one was Finite Nature. The second was A New Cosmogony. And Edward Fredkin is really a pretty high-powered physicist. He was a physicist at MIT, then went to Boston University. Now he's in Carnegie Mellon. He's kind of specialized in the digital side of information theory and physics. And his conclusions were that reality is a computed simulation, that we are in a computed simulation. And he presented this paper at a scientific forum and was not received real well. I think probably didn't get a long applause. It kind of startled a lot of people, but he was a very brave man for doing that, but he had solid physics to back it up. That's why he stood up and did it. Essentially, he says our reality is digital. Time's digital. Space is digital. Essentially, it's informational. He says our reality is just information. Okay. He also said that because a system cannot compute itself, it must be computed in, his words, other. It was computed in other. Okay. He didn't want to go there where it was computed. He knew it couldn't be computed in this reality frame. Okay, so he says it came from a reality frame that's outside of our physical reality. Well, now how do we define non-physical reality? Non-physical reality is basically other, is it not? We have a physical matter reality. That's our...
Do you see the effort these people put into describing your creator and creation? They can't compute it, so they go through an abstract tunnel, simulation computer coding, all kinds of stuff. Well, yeah, some of it is dead on because the matrix itself, the simulation within the grid, is a bunch of this stuff. They're starting to peel the layers back from the actual simulation. But the consciousness that exists outside of that, you know what I'm saying, which I call another version of, I guess, assimilation, consciousness itself, you know, but then now you're subject to that of which is conscious itself, right? Which we are describing as that which exists, that which has a heritage, an energetic signature, a heritage on this earth, a tribal heritage, a spiritual heritage here that created this earth and this earth to come. Will that also be a simulation? Is that also in the consciousness realm? Or is that now without a firmament, now connected to that oneness again? You know what I'm saying? However you want to break it down. I'm enjoying the thought process, so vibe with it.
Universe, that's us. There's everything in the universe, and then there's everything else. And that's non-physical reality. So everything is not physical, and that concept's non-physical. So if this is in other, then with that definition, he's basically saying that it's computed in the non-physical. Even if you say some other physical reality that isn't physical, that's cheating. It's the non-physical.
It's consciousness. See, I didn't even know they was going to say it. It's nothing new. Okay. So we're on the same page. But here's the hijack, right? They came with their own harmonics. These are the fallen angels. These are the Nephilim. These are the Enki Enlils. This is the Sumerian Sumer. This is the Egypt. This is all the pyramids, all this stuff. Their own harmonics. They understood vibration very well. But then they subjugated the people in a slave vibration, an alternate frequency, an alternate grid, an alternate reality, a simulation of the simulation, which is consciousness itself. Whose consciousness? Heya, heya. I am that I am. The pine cone, pineal gland. They're shutting you down. They're shutting down your muscle. They're taking control of your muscle and your brain, your eyes. Dope. We got a little bit of time. Keep vibing. We got about 20 minutes. I think we can make it, man, without doing a part 2. I think we're okay. Yo, so speaking of the simulation drop, let's go to my man Odin Rising. Always has terrific drop. I'm gonna go right in there because he's right there on that note, man. This is all connected, man. So I told you, we always bring it back. Oh, furniture move. All right. Let's get it from the Tizap. One more time for your mind. 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 The egghead. Checkerboard, black or white.
Hey folks, this is Odin, and it's been a while since I've did a video, and the reason for that is simply because I have been working a lot in real life, and that's just a priority of mine, to take care of my family, and do videos is secondary to me.
I get it, brother.
But I am going to do this video today, and I hope you all enjoy it.
Okay.
And it's about Elon Musk. And he is the CEO of SpaceX. He's quite a success story. He's the CEO of SpaceX, the co-founder and CEO of Tesla Motors, the chairman of Solar City, the co-chairman of OpenAI, the co-founder of Zip2, and also the co-founder of PayPal. And at 44 years old, he's a success story, I guess you could.
Wow, so I guess he's a king in this simulation. I guess in this simulation, he's a king. Let's see what the king knows.
You say. And he obviously knows a lot of secrets that the average person would not know, simply because of the SpaceX thing. And here's a photo of him walking with President Obama.
The king.
At the Falcon 6 launch site in 2010.
Oh, yeah. Where they launch it to?
But anyway, what I found interesting about this guy is what he's coming out and saying today. He's saying that odds are we are living in a simulation. And he's given the odds. There's a 1 billion to 1 chance that we live in a basic reality. In other words, there's a 1 billion to 1 chance that we don't live in a simulation. I'm going to play this little clip right here.
And if there's a 1 billion to 1 chance that we don't live in a simulation. Notice he didn't say there's a 1 billion to 1 chance that we live in a simulation. He said there's a 1 billion to 1 chance that we don't live in a simulation. In other words, there's a 1 billion to 1 chance that we don't live on a flat earth. There's a 1 billion to 1 chance that we don't live on a flat plane. Meaning that there's a 1 billion to 1 chance that we do. I mean, that, that we, what I'm saying. Now I'm confusing myself. Anyway, he's saying that he's saying there's a 1 billion to 1 chance that we are living in a simulation, which is crazy. 1 billion to 1. This is what this guy's saying.
With him speaking about it.
There's a sort of a philosophic concept that a sufficiently advanced civilization will be able to create a simulation. Yeah. Maybe you've answered this before? A simulation.
I've had so many simulation discussions, it's crazy.
Okay.
It's on his mind. He knows the real truth.
So, because
in fact, it got to the point where basically every conversation was the AI/simulation conversation, and my brother and I finally agreed that we would ban such conversations if we were ever in a hot tub. That was like, because that really kills the magic.
And he tries to bring a little humor into the situation because he knows the honest truth about it. But
So
that's all
the
he's doing.
idea is, right, any sufficiently advanced civilization could create a simulation that's like our existence. And so the theory follows that maybe we're in the simulation. Have you thought about this?
A lot.
Are we?
He thinks about it a lot because he knows that SpaceX, they're not really going into space. He knows the truth.
Damn.
Even in hot tubs, so much so it has to be banned from a hot tub.
Okay.
It's not the sexiest conversation.
Are we in?
I think here's, in my mind, like the strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think, is the following: that 40 years ago we had Pong, like 2 rectangles and a dot. That was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have both virtual reality, augmented reality. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality.
Listen.
They'll be indistinguishable. Even if that rate of advancement drops by,
I don't see him laughing anymore.
Right.
1,000 from what it is right now. Then you just say, okay, well, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing in the evolutionary scale. So given that we're clearly on our trajectory to have games that are indistinguishable from reality, and those games could be played on any set-top box or on a PC or whatever, and they would probably be, billions of such, computers, set-top boxes, it would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
And he actually says billions, not billion. He has an S at the end of that.
What's wrong with that argument? Is the answer yes?
The argument is probably. I mean, it's like,
Probably.
is
I'm not gonna
there
answer
a flaw in that argument?
I mean, someone.
I'm not sure what the error.
No. The argument makes sense. So the assumption then is that somebody beat us to it, and this is a game.
No. There's a 1 in billions chance that this is based reality.
Oh, okay. What do you think?
Well, I think it's 1 in billions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
that
not
seems to
answering
be,
it straight up.
Like clearly, what suggests, and actually, I mean, arguably, we should hope that that's true, because otherwise.
Now he hopes that it's true.
Civilization stops
He obviously
advancing,
knows that it's true.
and that may be due to some calamitous event that erases civilization. So maybe we should be hopeful that this is a simulation, because otherwise.
So they could reboot it.
Well, otherwise, either we're going to create simulations that are indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will cease to exist. Those are the two options.
And it will not be any sort of reboot like that guy was saying, but what the CEO here is obviously saying
Reboot.
Yeah, we living in this.
So people say deja vu, things keep getting changed in the simulation. So they're seeing things. That's what they said in the Matrix as well, the deja vu and all that jazz. I'm going to go ahead and just show you this right quick. This is this NASA documentation. I said I'll save it for last, and I'm going to get to some smooth perspective and do the dismount. We out of here. All right. So this documentation is right there for you. This is from NASA.gov. So, hey, it's from NASA.gov. How real is that? All right. So pull this thing up. You're going to see it pop up. We're going to read the summary, and then we'll try to get as much of that smooth as possible without having to do a part 3. Come on, baby. Don't be shy. It's coming. It's loading. See that bar? It's coming. All right, so this is NASA's own particular documentation that they put together for a linear model. You would see it right here. You see the reference number on it. What does it say? Read it. When they say linear model, they're pretty much saying something that's going straight, right? But they're also going to tell you exactly what it is. So I want you to scroll down. Now, this was done by Dr. Eugene L. Duke, Robert F. Antonowitz, and Keith D. Kramer. August 9, 1988, NASA reference publication 1207. All right, we're going to go down to the summary. That's when you want to know what this is about, right? You got to go to the summary. What do they say this is? Let's read it together. All right, pull up the summary. You can get ahead of me right now if you pause it. Boom, let's go. Quickly. This report documents the derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Again, this report documents the derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. The derivation makes no assumption of reference trajectory or vehicle symmetry. The linear system equations are derived and evaluated along a general trajectory and include both aircraft dynamics and observation variables. And they go into the intro. I like to also go to the conclusion. I can get there super fast. Okay, concluding remarks. Concluding remarks. You can get ahead of me if you pause. This is from NASA.gov. 1988. This report derives and defines a set of linearized systems matrices for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying in a stationary atmosphere over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Both generalized and standard linear system equations are derived from non-linear 6-degree of freedom equations of motion and a large collection of non-linear observation measurement equations. All right. And it goes into all that stuff. So that's from the aerodynamics. That's from Ames Research Center, Dryden Flight Research Facility, January 8th, 1987. You see all the stuff at the bottom there. You pull it up. Another look at this thing. I just put up a little image of it. And you'll see it underlined, and you can read it yourself. Pause it. Read it. That's documentation from NASA.gov. Now it belongs to you. You click on it. All right, and it says everything we just read. This report defines a set of linearized system matrices for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying in a stationary atmosphere over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Why is NASA putting billions into a flat, non-rotating Earth linear model? Because they know that that is the real understanding. And when you read, you say, go back to that Flat Drought, World Beyond the Poles. That book is worth over $1,000, and it's breaking all this stuff down as well. These linear models and how their models make no assumption for gravity, man. Okay? It's a whole nother model, and that's all trickery. So I hope we have a little time here to get to this smooth perspective. Love to this king. Let's go get it. And this king got it, man. We might get cut out, man. So if we do, stay up, suit up, choose up. I love y'all. Smooth perspective is about to take us away, man. Love to this king. Shalak, shalak. All day, all night. You already know. If I can figure this out. Oh, I got it. Yeah, yeah. Shalak, take us away.
Just this little speck of dust that's on my screen.
Hold up.
How it is.
Let's back up, Shalak. Shalak, take us away. Oh, another crash and burn.
How's it going?
There we go. Take us away, Shalak.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
You know who I'm talking to.
Yep.
Beautiful Sabbath. It's going away though.
See as loud as I can get it.
But today just kind of want to go into flat Earth. A lot of you people's probably already heard all of this stuff that I'm about to bring forward. But this smooth perspective.
That's right.
This Shalak's perspective.
Shalak, come on.
So, let's see, where do I want to start? All right, 25,000 miles around each direction, 25,000 miles around, right? That's Earth. That's the ball, right? So, if that is true, then that means that every mile the Earth must drop 8 inches to some people's standards. Some people say it's 5.7 inches, so 6 inches, pretty much a drop per mile. But regardless, the Earth has to curve. Water somehow has to curve. I don't know. Water's always level. We use water as a leveling thing, you know, like with a level. Actually, they use nitrogen now, but liquid is level. Okay, so anyways, why is it that mathematically we have to have curvature, right? Even if it's the slightest amount, because the Earth's so big, right? That's what they want you to think. They want you to think you're so small. You're just this little speck of dust that's on my screen. That ain't how it is. So, every mile the Earth curves, let's say 6 inches per foot. Let's say 3 inches per foot. Regardless, it curves, right? How is it that in Louisiana there's a place called Lake Pontchartrain Expressway? You can look this up. It's a 28-mile wide lake, okay? A lake is still water. A lake is not running water, right? Lake is level. And this lake is just that over the course of 28 miles. But mathematically, the Earth has to curve. And if it's curving 6 inches per mile, then that means it curved 14 feet, right? 14 feet. It has to curve in 28 miles. And the water's level over 28 miles. With laser levels. You can look all this stuff up, man. All the research has been done. You don't have to thank me for nothing. All I'm doing is presenting to you documented proof that we are not a ball and that we are not spinning. And I'm going to get into all of that too. But for now, how is it, once again, the earth has to drop 6 inches, 8 inches per mile to curve and make a round object, right? 28 miles, no curvature. Also, there's a canal connecting the Red Sea to the Mediterranean, or it's one of them seas. Anyways, look it up. There's a canal that's 13 miles long, and in 13 miles the water's dead level. I don't know how everybody tells me to go back to physics class, but physics shows me what? Water is always level. I can take water. Actually, I got a bottle right here. Here, let me drink a little bit. Okay. So, I can take water. And you notice the water is always going to show true level. Right? Okay. Let's say I put a mixer down in this water and I spin it at nowhere near 1,000 miles an hour. Even if I spun it at 1 mile an hour, what would happen? Due to the fact that it's in an object, the water has no way to travel outwards, which is what it would naturally want to do without a barrier. Without something holding it in, the water would naturally want to shoot out. Right? But since it's in here, what would happen? All the water would go up to the top by spinning this water. It's going to protrude the water upwards, because it's got no way to go out, but normally it would go outwards. So, if I take a tennis ball, stick it in water, and I spin it, all the water is going to come off at the equator, or at the center of it, right? Those proven scientific experiments. There is no scientific experiment making a ball of water. None. So, now that I've kind of got that out the way, like I said, Lake Pontchartrain Expressway, or look up that canal that's over in one of them seas over there. Look it up. 13-mile long canal, dead level. But no, it curves. It can't curve. Also, if you were to take something and have it disappear from your eyesight, stand in the same exact spot and grab binoculars, that object will appear right back in the same spot. Then it disappears out of the binoculars view, right? You grab up a telescope and you look from that same spot, and you're going to see that thing in the same spot. They ain't moved. It's just out of your line of vision. I don't understand why everybody tells me to go back to physics. I don't get it. Physics shows me what? How is it that everywhere on this globe, they all see the same star constellations?
Right.
Star constellations revolve around the North Pole. That's what they say. So, how are the people on the bottom of the ball seeing the same damn constellations that we seeing on top? Also, them same constellations have been there. What, we can take them back to 5000 BC? Probably take them back farther than that. You can take it back so far
them same constellations that we still see today was seen thousands of years ago. And how is that possible when you're spinning 1,000 miles an hour? And people say, well, it don't spin that fast because it's so big, right? But check it out. 1,000 miles an hour is 1,000 miles per hour. If I jump up and hover, right? If I jump up and hover, if I could, in 1 hour, I would land in Moab, Utah. Due to the way that the Earth's spinning, everything like that. Right? How crazy does that sound? The Earth ain't spinning that fast, but that's a lot of distance. Hell, the Earth would come to me faster than it would me driving there to Moab, Utah, if that's the case. If we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour, that means that I can jump up, hover, or set a drone up, let it hover, and in 1 hour, it should land about Moab, Utah, because that is directly west pretty much from me. I don't know, man. This stuff really just sounds so absurd. It's absolutely crazy that people believe this stuff. They cannot show you a video of Earth spinning in real time. They cannot show you anything of us being a ball that's real. I spent 2.5 hours one day on NASA.gov. 2.5 hours looking through every photo that they have of Earth. And what I found was that there are all composite images. All of them, every one of them. Sorry guys, I had to pause it. I don't know if I'm still gonna be leaving off right where I left off because I don't remember. But anyways, I know what I'm talking about, so I can just go into any other category that I want. But we've also got, we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour counterclockwise, okay? 1,000 miles an hour counterclockwise. Now, wouldn't that mean that a flight at the equator, let's say, let's just keep it along the widest point, right? So, a plane flying 1,400 miles west and a plane flying 1,400 miles east is the same flight time. Once again, the Earth is spinning towards you if you're going west, because it's going counterclockwise, 1,000 miles an hour, and you're flying west. You know how crazy that sounds? Why are the flight times the same? Oh, it must be because our atmosphere is spinning with us. Be it when a bullet shot out of a sniper rifle with the Coriolis effect, they're told to take into account the curvature of the Earth and all this and that, right?
Oh, shit.
Not true. And I can prove that that's not true because they say as soon as the bullet leaves the barrel of the gun, what? It's no longer in Earth's rotation. So if a bullet is no longer in Earth's rotation, a drone